Every year, thousands of people turn their hands to learn the age-old craft of jewellery making. But what is a jeweller? Who are the people who make the creative, sparkly things we have come to know and love? Where do they make it? How do they make it? What do their workshops look like? And what led them down that specific path? In this short series, come on a journey of discovery with me to meet the jewellers who are creating and selling their work, building their own small but wonderful businesses, and learning all different aspects of this incredible craft. Let's meet the Handmade Jewellers.
Welcome, I'm Jessica Rose, a jeweller, teacher and the founder of Jewellers Academy, a thriving community for jewellers. Today I'm going to be spending the day with jeweller Sima Vaziry. Sima has her own jewellery shop along the South Bank in London in the famous Oxo Tower. She also sells her work to the British Museum and has done so for over a decade. Sima's work is inspired by Afghan, Persian and Middle Eastern art and architecture. She creates wonderful pieces using a material called silver metal clay, combined with gold and traditional silver working skills. Today we'll hear about Sima's unique journey into jewellery making, plus we'll get creative with some making too. And of course we'll get to see her jewellery shop, complete with all her tools. I can't wait to get started, so let's go and say hi to Sima. Hi Sima! Hello, I'm good! So lovely to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yes.
Would you like to come in?
I'd love to, thank you. So Sima, thank you so much for having me in your shop today.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm so happy that you managed to come.
Yes, it's beautiful here and we're going to get into talking about the shop in a little bit. But before we do, tell us a bit about your journey into jewellery making. How did you come to start making and selling your jewellery?
I wasn't always a jeweler. It is my second career. I was graphic designer for 25 years. And I studied MA, BA, did all my education in graphic design. Actually, I did it in it was called visual communication. So everything was to do with designs. So for 25 years, I was quite successful in graphic design. I had my own design group. And until, because of some medical problems, which I couldn't stay still because of muscle spasm, that suddenly, about 12 years ago, I just couldn't carry on doing the graphics. But in evenings, I was always active, and I wanted to do, after 25 years of doing something like graphic design, maybe a few years would be fun, but it's like every day, then it became a job. So I wanted to do something more free, and so I decided designing jewelry, because since childhood I loved my mom's jewelry, and I always wanted to have, her jewelry. And so I thought it would be nice, to take that course. And I just did everything. And I made a lot of jewelry. It was like a foundation course. I wasn't quite sure what I liked in jewelry. So I was taking a lot of courses in Central St. Martin at the time, and City Lit, and also I actually, more I knew what I wanted, I started chasing the artists who were very good at that, and I actually took private lessons with a lot of like a Sonia Chido and some other designers, and so one-to-one.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So you started with kind of like general courses?
General, I have no idea, so
Yeah.
I was excited creating things,
Yeah. And do you think your graphic design background has helped you with your jewellery making?
Of course, I mean, definitely, because, I had a design basic element, so I knew about design. I think design is something is different to when you are a painter or something like that. Design is something you learn, and your eyes gets trained. So of course, and you know, that helped me tremendously. And also I think doing an MA course really helped, because in MA course you do a lot of research. So obviously it later on, all these little elements helped.
Yes.
But the thing is, I had a sudden break, you know, in jewelry, as you say, being in the right place on the right time with the right product. That actually happened. You know, I had so much jewelry, and obviously I had this medical problem, and which I wasn't quite sure whether I can carry on doing any work. And so what I did is I gave all this jewelry I had made for a charity, so the money goes to charity. I had no idea that the head buyer of British Museum was there. And
so this was like an event, a charity
yes,
event.
it was a big gala night, and you know, and I thought, you know, that is something I can contribute. And but obviously that the lady was looking for something to do with Afghanistan, and there was major exhibition was coming, and she was looking for a jeweler who could do that kind of jewelry. And then she gave me a card, asked me to come and see her next day, and then she bought my entire collection. I couldn't believe. I mean, it was one of those things that it doesn't happen. It happened to me maybe once.
Yeah.
And so, but I grabbed it, you know, I didn't let it go. I made sure I do everything correctly. And my husband helped me a lot, because we didn't want to tell them I'm too disabled. And so they were really excited. So I thought, we worked very hard. The kitchen closed. And when the kitchen closed, I was like, you know, working, you know, with my husband helping me. And we produced all the purchase orders. But the problem came when actually within 1 week they're sold out.
Oh.
And that was fantastic for British Museum. So they put huge order in. And I knew that time that I can't work from kitchen anymore.
Yes.
So overnight I asked my teacher, who was having a baby, Sarah Stafford, who's very famous in goldsmithing, and she was having a baby. So I took her her studio in Croft Central at the time.
Yeah.
And that overnight I moved in.
Wonderful.
And that helped.
Yeah. So you started off making from home.
That's right.
And you made collections?
Well, it became a collection. I mean, at the time I had all sorts of different things, but the ones that British Museum chose, it felt like a collection. And also they asked me, for example, we love this necklace, and this is actually one of them.
Yes, it's beautiful.
And they told me to make, for example, earring to go with it. And so I had to expand it. So that's how it, you know, expanded to a collection.
I think that's so interesting though. So you started making, and I think you've always had, because I've known you from the beginning of the journey, I think you've always had a design style, you know, a style that is your kind of signature style. And obviously at this event, you know, the organisers or the people saw that and thought there's something here. Because I think sometimes jewellers think, well, where do I even start with all of this? But you started by making the things that you loved making, creating something, and then working in collaboration with the people at the British Museum or wherever it may be, when they said, this is what we need. And so that's how you kind of developed the collection. I think that's quite an interesting journey.
Yes, because what I actually did was I brought with myself when I came from Iran in '78 tons of culture, memories, and artistic shapes and things that it was in my mind. My journey in jewelry was learning journey, you know, more than anything else. You know, every step I've learned something new.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought your history and your culture and kind of brought it into the jewelry, which I think, a lot of people don't think about doing that, but that's now become your kind of niche. And
I think it's important. I mean, I think everybody should start from themselves, you know, for what they like, because when you like something, you do put 100% or even more into it.
Absolutely.
And also you enjoy it. That's what we are living, you know, you should enjoy what you're doing. and it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely advise that you should start from yourself.
Yes, yeah, and you are in your jewellery. I think you know
It
it radiates SEMA, and you
Although
can
I have to
recognise
say,
it.
they did commission me to design Shakespeare exhibition, which during
I remember
Olympic,
that.
and I was like thinking, why me? But then I can understand that they recognize my writings, which I liked, and calligraphy into my pieces. So they thought Shakespeare obviously is to do with writing. So yeah, that from that point of view, we sort of married these two together,
Yes.
and it was a success. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so you tell us a bit about your making process, because you work with silver metal clay and you work with some other kind of methods as well.
That's right.
It's quite different to a lot of production. So yeah, tell us a bit about that.
It's quite interesting because I think using material for creating your jewelry, it should be something that you choose, not the main thing, which suits your designs. Because what I started with, it was silversmithing, and that was when I was actually okay, and you know, physically I was okay, and I did a lot of silversmithing, and I was quite depressed when I couldn't move. My muscles went into spasm, and I was thinking that I had to say goodbye to the jewelry world, until some of the students had heard about this course, which is to do with metal clay, and I didn't actually believe them, tell the truth. I talked to my husband. My husband would say, no way, you know, I mean, how could that be possible? And then I was shocked when I did the course. I was so surprised, and that this is actually better than silversmithing, because I write, I do calligraphy, I do write, and this is a fantastic way to create stamps and be able to press. And it does come out really nicely. So I started learning a lot, you know, but through internet, through books. I ordered books from America, which was only maybe 10 of them, you know, and to learn how to create those stamps, which it is called photopolymer plates. And also having a knowledge of a computer, especially Photoshop and Illustrator, did help hugely. I think what I'm doing, if I didn't know computer,
would be very
or
challenging.
any of them, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. So it combined all your kind of skills together.
All of them, yes, because you needed a computer for reduction and enlargement and creating all those shapes, and then transfer it into the plates, which it was a stamp, and then after that be able to create it. So I married all those together.
Yeah.
And obviously, metal clay has got weakness of softness because it's pure silver. And but the thing is, sometimes I have to think about a ring, shank, you know, maybe that should be sterling silver. I learned how to solder them together because that was a major thing for me. And because making jewelry is not just making jewelry. You don't want the customer to come back to you within like 1 month. Sorry, this is like broken.
Yes.
And deshaped. So
yeah, you want the quality there as well.
Yeah, you had to take all those little things into account.
Yeah.
And it was a major thing, you know, so.
Absolutely. And we were doing some metal clay a bit later as well.
Oh,
so
yes,
that would be fun.
Sure.
And so tell us a bit about the shop, because I think many jewellers have a dream to have their own shop. Was it scary taking on a premises? What was that journey like for you?
The journey was at the beginning, tell the truth, I had a studio in Craft Central who was not a shop. You know, and
this was like a workshop.
That's right.
Studio.
It's a workshop, a studio. Twice a year we had, open studios, and that was it. And those 2 days was quite tiring. And next door to me was Catherine Elizabeth, who was making hats. So we met each other through my dog, and we became very good friends. And then Craft Central decided they're moving to East, and I wasn't seeing my clients would come that far. So we had to look, everybody was looking for a place. And at the time, I just left a group called Jadeco. I was part of them, and but then I left.
This is a group of jewellers.
Jewellers, which are
work
in
together.
the Oxo Tower at the moment.
Yes.
Well, I even went to interview with them to get the space, but then it was on the back.
At the back of the Oxo Tower, but you wanted to be at the front where you can see the river and have people walking in.
And so I left them. So and then I end up with Catherine looking for a place until they told me there is a place going, and it is this shop. And tell the truth, when I came and I saw the river, and I said we make it work. Because working in such an environment, it doesn't come every day. And so we reduced everything down. We didn't think about the shop. We thought it was easy, you know. Okay, it's okay, we open the shop, you know, half is the workshop, half is shop, and everything will fall into place. But didn't realize we actually did a huge thing, opening a shop.
Sometimes that's the easiest way, is just to jump in and then figure it all out later.
Yes. So, you know, like I worked when I was a student, I did work in the shop, so I knew roughly how you have to treat customers, but shop it's not about that, it's about everything, every single thing you want to sell. And it was so satisfying to sell, you know, because they come and they give their hard-working money to you, and they're taking your pieces. That was so satisfying.
Yeah.
And but had a lot of work. You had to maintain it, and make sure you open on time.
Yeah.
And even so, it helped that we shared the shop, because the days she couldn't make it, I couldn't make it, we cover each other.
That's nice. And you're both makers. You make different types of things, but they work together, and
it's fantastic. It was like a really good combination. And we do ask each other for design opinions all the time, and we do respect each other's space. And I mean, there are a lot of things that you have to take into account if you're sharing. And you have to respect each other's customers, you know, because you have to make the customer happy. You don't want, you know, anybody, you know, go out of here unhappy.
Absolutely.
And also security, you know, all those little things, you know, you start learning. And
what advice would you give to a jeweller thinking about starting a shop? Is there any like one thing that you wish you'd known, or?
Well, shop needs to open on time and close on time. I think that is one thing very important. You can't have a shop not opening. The customers sometimes get really angry, they do call. And so that is one thing. Make sure that you can do that.
Be reliable, be punctual.
Or get somebody, if you can't do that day, get them in. You know? And always be available for customers, you know, when they come in. You know? Because you can't just let them just walk around, you know. And
tell us a bit about your customers. Who buys from you, and you know, how do you feel about your customers?
Well, the customers I have are niche, very niche customers, but I already had customers when I came here, and I let them know. But ITV at the time had a building very close to us, so that helped, because the kind of customers I have, it's journalists of a high end, and MPs, ladies and lords, old money. Basically people who have interest in that part of the world. They have their diamonds, they have their gold. They come here to take a piece of what I'm offering from that part of the world.
And more the cultural history.
Right, yes. And they like it. I mean, I can mention some of them, like Robert Peston. He was coming here to get things for his wife. Liz Dossett, who's BBC's chief correspondent, she wears all my jewelry, and sometimes I look for her to see if she's, you know, what is she wearing, so I can use. But these people, they don't want too much, you know. The editor of the Financial Times and the people like that, you know, they just love to buy, buy jewelry. I even had somebody coming in later on, I found out he was David Lammy from LBC, and we did have a very good conversation. But because I think I work with charities too, so it does help.
Yeah, it helps to get your name out
and
there.
a story behind the jewelry as well. You know, the jewelry is not. The jewelry needs to look good first.
Yes.
And then have other things.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is important. So these are the customers, and but the thing is, people start coming from city. Men who were desperate last minute to buy something.
Christmas Eve.
Yes, yes, they were like running over the Blackfriars Bridge. In summer, we had so many Chinese and Americans who stay in a 5-star hotel plus next door to us.
Yeah.
And also a lot of footfall on, not on this level, but on the ground.
Yeah.
So yes, a lot of tourists.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is they kept coming back. They said, oh, last year we came, we bought something from you. Can we buy something else? Or, you know, it's quite interesting how your customer range starts expanding. And recently I had some very nice looking gay models coming and buying my jewelry, men. And they're wearing it, and it's amazing.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've actually seen that on your Instagram. Yeah, it looks brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah,
and he works in city. He's from New York, and I had lot of gay guys. They like my jewelry. They come here and they buy my jewelry.
So you never know who your ideal customer might be.
No, I mean, I was really surprised when, you know, men start wearing my jewelry, or the ring. For example, this ring. A lot of men buy it for wedding band.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's amazing, you know, that I never thought of designing for men, but there we go, apart from cufflinks.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, very exciting. And so when you first started your jewellery making journey, did you have any idea you would be where you are now? Because you're a very inspiring jeweller. You've been in a lot of press, you know, TV. Your work is, like you said, kind of lots of celebrities or micro celebrities. What would you say to someone starting out who looks at you and thinks, wow, how did you get there?
I know, I do get asked a lot, but I think it's, I know, I didn't think. I mean, I was in a very dark place, and because I couldn't move for 6 months because I had a fibromyalgia. It's a neurological problem. And it took ages, 2 years to be found out. So I was in a very dark place, not be able to work, not be able to do anything. And when I joined the metal clay group because of my teacher, I was introduced to your school.
Yes.
and I remember meeting you, and I was dying for you to say, you know, okay, for me to teach that, because I did one honorable mention certificate from Japan on metal clay, and that design did go on the cover of the books, and you know, it did go quite far. And on basis of that, even Oxford University, they've written a white paper about my work on metal clay.
Wonderful.
It's very scientific,
yes.
But it is they used it and how they actually used it in terms of on the microscope, but then they wanted my opinion about how I feel about it, you know. And so accidentally I found that, and I was like, I knew students were doing it, but I didn't realize it turned into a white paper. So it was interesting. And then you allowed me to come and teach.
I loved having you come and teach, Sima.
And it was fantastic because I never taught before. And it was all satisfying, you know, teaching and sharing your knowledge. And I think your school played a big role, and it made me feel more confident. And then after that, the British Museum was a huge thing.
I remember us having a chat the day after you'd met the British Museum lady, and you were talking about pricing and how to do all the contracts. It's amazing.
I have to tell you, I went down by myself I had my prices, and then I had, obviously my husband helped me because he was very good with figures. And then I had my bottom price.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't go all lower than that.
Yeah.
Because if you do, then you lose money.
Yeah.
And so you start with a higher price, and I didn't realize a lot of bartering, and, you know, and then no, it's not bartering like a in market. It is like they need to sell certain price, you need to sell cheaper price. So you just have to come in the middle, maybe making it lighter or using less silver, like all those little things, cutting off.
Yeah, so
But
you work with the museum.
That's
and
right.
kind of figure out how to make it work for both of you. I think sometimes we think you just you
Yes.
go to them and that's how it is, and sometimes it's like that, but a lot of times
That's right.
there is
yeah.
that negotiation.
So I had to allocate a bit of design flexibility. You couldn't go say, "Don't, this is my design. I'm artist. Don't talk to me." No, but because it still works because I'm a designer. So make it smaller. I can make that work.
Yes,
And,
you're flexible.
exactly.
You're a bit open.
You have to be.
Yeah.
And so that helped a lot. So it was a big long meeting, and then after that, the ball was rolling.
The rest is history. Yes, and you've done more than 5 collections for them now.
Yes, I mean, I did that, and then after that, they give me a very difficult projects because the Hajj exhibition came, which it was very Islamic and it was religious, and they told me that could you design a collection which is not religious and it's not political, and I thought it was. It was difficult, but then I did a lot of research, and I based it on the journey, and that was quite a success.
Yes.
Even
It's a beautiful collection.
Thank
I love
you.
that collection. Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
That collection actually went well. Louvre Museum at the time was opening Islamic section in Paris, so they asked me if they want if they can use some of those pieces, and I had no knowledge of it's okay, So I sent about 15 pieces to them, and they loved it, and they were saying they want it, and cost me a lot of money to send because it had to be insured. British Museum asked me because apparently they asked somebody else as well, so they got really upset, and they said they won't tell me not to do it, but they said don't put us in competition. I understood that totally, and then I was very happy to work with British Museum. If I had to choose, it would be British Museum.
Yeah.
So I had to.
You have to be careful with your
very
competitors.
much. You can't just,
Yeah.
It's very important that where your jewelry's been seen before, and you need to talk to people you worked with. It's that's how you develop your relationship.
Yeah. A great learning curve.
Yes, I did. Yeah, because it was. Thank God I didn't sell everything.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many more things I want to ask you, Sima, but I also want to take a look around the workshop and do some making with you. Yeah. So, should we go and get started, and I can keep grilling you as we go along?
Okay. Okay. Let's go.
Can I see a tour of your jewellery workshop?
Yes, sure. Would you like to walk with me?
Yes,
so I can take you
come and
through
show
all
me.
that? Yeah.
Absolutely. Because you fit a lot in a small space, don't you?
That's right.
Yes.
I mean, it's not much space here. And as you can see, this is my working table.
Mm-hmm.
That is my card machine from there.
Very important,
Very
taking
important.
payments.
I have anything to do with sales, like stickers, business card, everything. And then this is actually little, goes into boxes in case for anti-tarnishing.
Oh, these are like, yeah.
And other stuff.
Brilliant.
I just thought it would be nice when you talk to customers. My leaflets, how to look after your jewelry.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, because I think it would be nice to explain to them.
Yeah, so you include all of
That's
that
right,
when
I
you're
include
selling.
that to them so they know, especially for people who cannot come back, they can have that. And my computer's here.
Yes.
I have 2 keyboards because sometimes I do a lot of work, so this can be down with a mouse. But then sometimes I need this area, so then I need to work. And lots of work here, lot of references, lot of little bottles. It's my fan. And this is my scrap metal
Nice.
for silver.
Yeah.
Here is my vise, very mini vise, but it's fantastic.
Brilliant.
And then I have here for, you know, hammering.
Steel block.
This is a
hammers.
vase which I have turned it into my pliers, and with obviously the hammer in the middle. These are my colored pencils.
What do you? Is that for colouring in on your lunch break?
No. I love these colored pencils. They actually work with water. They're watercolors, and I do a lot of my ideas, which is easier to draw them.
Yeah.
And then and these are all my tools. Some of the tools are silversmithing, some of them are not, and I have a lot of different shapes for cutting, my pads, and some more bottles for work. And
Wonderful.
then I have all these books and references which I need. I know I have to be so compact.
Yes, very
And
organised.
that's
I love
right.
this. The look at these, all your gemstones.
Yes,
here.
these are from Muji, but it's fantastic
Oh,
because I can
nice.
see where my little gems are, because after you work with them, when you have so many, you really can't see. So this is best way to actually see them.
Absolutely beautiful.
And also these are my work in progress, so I put them here. It's important. Another thing I just found extremely interesting is this, which I think is important to actually do that. For example, these are all my soldering. So because I work with the different projects all the time.
Yeah.
I have soldering, tumbler.
Oh, so these are things that need
That's
to be
right.
soldered,
Yeah,
things that need
that's
to go in the
right,
top. I
yeah.
love that organising your making.
You have to be, otherwise everything can go all over the
Yeah.
place.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
I just find this is extremely helpful, especially if I want to do something and I have to go off and come back. I have these little trays of Muji again. That is good because when I work, I can put a lot of works in different plates and then come back next morning to do it. So these are my fantastic light, is daylight.
Wonderful.
It will-
Let there be light. So
That's
this
right.
is for when you're making. So this
That's
is your
right.
making space.
This is my making space.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant.
And
And what's this guy?
this is my favorite. If I want to do a lot of cutouts, I actually work it out like this, what I'm wearing at the moment. So I actually make the cut, and then it prints into here. I can actually show you some of the work which I have done in the past.
Oh, that would be great.
Before they turn into polymer plates, I do cutouts, which are, lots of them are here, you can see. Let me see, for example, this one was cut. Can you see that? This was cut with that machine.
Wow.
So
So is
basically,
it plastic?
it's acetate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, I have a lot of acetate, and I designed the shape, and then
And then you use that to cut around.
yeah, basically sometimes when I don't have textures, so I just put that down on metal clay, and I use a very, very, very sharp, is almost,
Needle
you
tool.
hardly see, and with that I cut.
Wonderful.
Yes, and it does cut well. And so can you see, I've got tons here.
Yes, for all your
And
collection.
then, so it's a lot of process, but you need to know the computer, you need to know a little bit of mathematics, because you have to think about the shrinkage. So you want to make sure the end product works well, so you have to make it bigger, all those things, you know.
Wonderful.
Otherwise, things can go wrong.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So these are all your like kind of storage trays.
That's
It's like
right.
a treasure trove. It just keeps coming out and getting bigger
That's
and
right,
bigger.
which is very fantastic. And then I have things which are handy, like every day I use, my own personal stuff, and papers. And here I have some of the gems. So
More gemstones.
More gemstones here.
You can never have too many.
No, because you'd be surprised when people put orders. And these are my displays.
Yeah.
So basically, all these are my displays. And see my
Wow,
gems
it's a
here.
whole. Let's see that one again. It's a whole tray of lapis lazuli.
Yes, this is for British Museum, especially.
Wow. Okay.
When they go, these are actually cut for me.
Okay.
To the right size, because I get a lot of orders. Different kind of gems. So basically all that. And then here is my tools, like everything to do with soldering, and here is to do with cleaning, polishing, and here is to do with polishing again. I have all
yes,
sorts
your
of tools.
radial
Yes,
discs.
exactly, and glues, and And then I have a lot more tools here for different kind of things.
So do you know where everything is?
Yes.
That is
Yes, I
very
do.
inspiring.
I do. And here again I put this is another vise for, I actually use this when I want to do sanding or when
your
I
bench peg.
Yes, bench peg. Easily I fix it here. So everything is
There we go. Can be done on a kitchen table.
anywhere, yes. So that is, I design it in the way I want to do it. So this is for silversmithing.
Brilliant.
And,
makeshift jewellery bench.
And obviously this is my metal clay work.
They're your rubber blocks
That's
for
right.
doing the metal clay. And what's this beauty?
That's my everything. This is my kiln. And inside it, I have fiberglass. I have some, depends because I make a lot of 3D, so I need this. And basically this is when,
Vermiculite and
yes.
tray.
And I usually put it on at night, set it up, and then in the morning I come, everything's done.
Yeah.
And here, it's when you want to dry your metal clay.
Yeah.
So
Your hot
obviously when
plate.
this works, this is off from here. And then sides of here I used for having like, you know, saws and other, you know, this is fantastic because I have a very small area, so this is good for cleaning and
Show us
brushing.
it again. It's like a brush.
Tiny brush, but it does help a lot, you know, especially to keep things tidy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to be tidy, otherwise it doesn't
and
work.
tell me about the love wall. I'm interested
Oh
in the
my
love
God,
wall.
this is, sometimes I get things which I really get inspired or feel close to. It's nice to look at this wall sometimes to feel good. It's a good feel factor.
So it's
as
got
well.
your dog,
That's
it's got your
right.
partner, it's got what else?
It's got this tool which I'm thinking in future, it's like a blue eye thing for Turkish people, but in Iran they use it for, you know, bad evil eye or something. I want to turn this into a jewelry, so I have
It's like your
left it here.
inspiration board.
That's right. And then this is my next door neighbor makes everything in ceramics.
Lovely.
These are the kids next door did this for me, and they were trying to be me, but it makes me feel good. I just love this because that is the view we have, and this is the exhibition I did the jewelry for once, and this I turned 60. This was my tiara.
Oh, it's amazing.
And also
Brilliant.
Over here there are bits and pieces. For example, I got this from London Museum, and that one I designed for charity.
That's your tiara crown.
I know, this was the most precious.
Quite epic piece, isn't it, really?
It's very funny because all of them were actually real chains. So when I'm short in chain, I cut this off.
And you've got a huge doming block
That's
up
right.
there.
This belongs to the time I actually was silversmith only. But now sometimes I use it for doming. So I put a cling film over it. These boxes are really good because sometimes I have to send stuff off to be hallmarked, and so these comes very handy. Obviously, it's my charger. This table is my soldering table. I got it all in a tray, so I bring it over here, and I set it up here, and I bring.
So this
everything.
space is your office, your metal clay,
Everything.
your jewellery bench,
That's right,
your
yes.
soldering table,
Yes.
your packing station.
That's right.
So
And-
efficient.
Yeah, I have to be, and
Yes.
also in terms of work as well, I have to make sure that I do everything in order. Yeah, otherwise, you know, I have to put this back and forth 100 times, and then obviously all these tools are for soldering.
Tweezers, and
Yeah. And I have
things
three
like that.
three torches in case, because sometimes when I have a deadline, I don't want to risk.
yeah, they
Right.
get quite hot, don't they, if you're using a lot in a row?
That's right, and I have this one.
Hard
on my
solder?
solders. I have this. I find it easy because I
The
do
flux.
make these flux very dirty, and so I put a little bit. So after I use, I can change it. And the
Top
box,
tip.
and some more storage space. This one is fantastic. It's actually foldable to the flat. It is for taking photographs of my jewelry, especially with the new camera of iPhone. You know, I mean, I don't need to use my Canon anymore because it's so easy to just put it here.
And these have little lights in
Oh
the
yeah,
front.
they come on.
Yes.
Everything comes on. This even opens up from here to shoot. And here is my ultrasonic.
Yes, wonderful.
And here is drilling into metal.
Yeah, and an amazing book as well.
Oh, I love this book. I just love this
I
book.
love that it's here, Sima. Sima's in the book, so that's awesome.
Behind the curtain, there are things which you really don't want to see.
Yes,
It's more
tea and
tidy,
coffee and
tea and coffee.
yeah. So
and
when people are
everything.
coming
Yes.
into the studio, and what's this one over here?
Oh, this is all the orders for British Museum, which is ready to go on Friday.
Oh wow!
It is quite a it's quite a tradition. You know, traditionally, you have to let them know when it's coming. You have a window of 1 hour, and you have to let them know a week before. And
Right.
if you don't, you can't deliver.
Okay.
And then you end up with following week to deliver. And on all of it, you have to write this. You have to write
so it's
the
delivery
date.
note.
And before that, you sent another form to agree with them. And then when they agree, then you put all this information here. All the reference number of the products, how many boxes, within box, how many other boxes.
Yes.
So when you actually open it, you put your purchase order from British Museum, and then you put your invoice.
Yeah.
And then you have boxes which are ready to go. These boxes...
Beautiful box.
Thank you. These boxes, it's important for their customers when they buy, they know who you are. Although it says Sima Vaziry, but on here, inside here, I've written simavaziry.com. So it's automatically...
They can find your website and
yes.
get in touch.
And these are the earrings ready to go.
Oh, lovely.
And
Beautiful.
then... and that's it. And then when it goes to British Museum, they put a tag themselves how much it costs, and then they put it in. Some of these they go online, but some of them they don't. They're just in the shop.
Sell in the shop. Yeah.
But in terms of delivery, it's extremely important because as I said, if I miss it, that's it. I have to book with them again.
Yes.
So it's not like
So
a
you
normal
are the
shop.
most organised person I know.
Well, I have to be.
You do have to be, and you do it.
That's
which
the
is
only way
wonderful.
I can actually work.
Yeah. Well, Sima, it's been so lovely to see your small and mighty workshop,
Oh,
and
thank
I'm
you.
excited to get started with some making. So shall we
Sure,
do that
we can
next?
do something. Yeah.
All right. So Sima, we're going to be making some jewellery together.
Yes.
Yes, wonderful. We're going to use silver metal clay,
That's right. Yes.
and we're going to make one of your signature style cut-out pieces, which I'm very excited to make. So show us what we're making
Okay.
and what tools and things we're going to need.
Sure. This is the piece I'm going to be making,
Wow, it's beautiful.
and this piece is actually pure silver underneath and 24 karat gold vermeil on top. But obviously we're not going to be making the gold.
The gold,
plating,
yes.
But I'm going to show you how I actually do this.
Brilliant.
This
Can't
is
wait.
the finished piece, but what I have done is from acetate with the program, the portrait silhouette, I actually designed this and I cut it out, and you can see the shrinkage between them. So
because that one
basically-
looks quite a bit bigger.
That's right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It's always to take this into account, the shrinkage. But now I'm going to show you how I actually do this. It's very delicate, but how is possible to do it. I always work with this plate. I find it extremely easy to.
Is it like
work on.
acrylic?
Yes, it is a piece of plastic but hard. And I got this from Muji. This is where I
Our
keep
favourite
pieces.
shop.
Oh, I love that shop, and also it is very good because I actually got a sponge stuck with a very strong glue. This is a sponge to keep it wet.
So this is for the metal clay.
For metal clay when the pieces I don't work.
Yeah.
And also I use still distilled water, because if you don't do that, then you start seeing molds happening. So don't use any water from the tap.
Okay.
Because after a while, you know, you have to do it again and make it. I've been using this for more than a year and it's still okay.
And for anyone new to metal clay, can
yes.
you just explain what it is?
Oh yes, I can. Metal clay is, it's been invented in, I think, 1994 by Japanese scientists. They actually came up with mixing silver powder and organic binder and water. So that became very soft to work with. You can see I'm pressing it. This is inside something which, you know, stops it from getting dry.
Yeah.
And obviously because it is like a paste, it has got 3 stages to get rid of the binder and water. So at the moment what we're doing is the stage 1, which is the, you know, it's got water in it, so we have to be careful while we're working it doesn't get dry.
And that's what this is for, the sponge.
That's why I have this. I created this. You can create this with all sorts of things. The sponge allows the humidity to be there, and also I use a badger balm. I mean, this stuff doesn't stick to your hands. The only way you can actually stop doing that is using badger balm or olive oil. So cover everything with that, and so I'm just going to be a little bit covering this area. And also I do my hands as well, especially my fingers. So I don't open this until I'm ready, and sometimes I use this Cool Sleep. It's a very good, it does the same job as badger balm.
Yeah.
But sometimes I find it easy with, you know, applying it into this is better than oil sometimes, because I don't want it to stick too much or become too slippery. So I oil this as well because it's coming into contact. And this is a roller, so I have to roll it. So I oil that as well.
Great.
And this is a needle tool. It's very sharp, it's very small. Smaller it is and sharper it is, it's easier to cut, because the width is very important.
Yes,
especially
we want
with something
detail.
so thin like that. So this is the best I have found in the market.
Great.
And now the cards are not for playing; they are actually for the, you know, in making the thickness.
We're not going to do a game of poker.
No, everybody says to me, "What are these? Do you play?" But it's actually fantastic. So what I do is I always I place one, but this is where I'm going to be working, and obviously because it's the same thickness, I want to equal as the same surface. And then I choose, usually I go for 4, but because 4 is quite nice when it dries, the thickness, 4 cards, but the problem is I'm going to be sanding it, I'm going to make it smooth, so I actually go for 5.
Right.
I think 5 cards will do, because
So you've got a bit of a buffer.
That's right,
Yeah.
yeah, because then it becomes too thin, and then I place it on top, and so this is 5 cards. So I place it on the sides, because then I can put this in the middle, and with the roller I'll press on the card, and I've been
Gotcha.
doing that very easily.
Yes.
So anyway, now I'm going to open this because I think I'm ready, and as it comes in another sort of like a cling film or cellophane.
So this is actually silver.
This is pure silver mixed with water and mixed with organic binder. And as you can see, it's very flexible. So what I do, I actually put it in the palm of my hand after squeezing it, and then I put the pressure, because I don't want any bubbles or any cracks.
Yeah.
And then I oil this. Everything comes into contact with, and then I make sure that this is round, and put a lot of pressure, and I put this in the middle here.
Great.
And now I'm rolling it because that is the thickness I want.
Ready to roll.
And then going up and down. That's it. And now I'm going to actually pick up this pattern or cutouts. I place it on top and I roll it a little bit because what I want to do is make sure that it doesn't move around. And one thing I do is I put this into the badger balm. I try to cut extra bits off because this is, you don't need it, and it dries while it's sitting there. And I place it inside and close. What I do, I start cutting from inside outward because if I start from outside, I have little clay to work with and they start moving. So at the moment it's got a lot of support outside, so I start cutting from the middle. What I do, I start like this. Sometimes you just have to feel, I go in and out like that. I don't go like this because when you do this, you're moving the clay. So you have to make sure how you cut it. And so I go from the corners and I come out. You can see.
Yeah.
And then because then you have got less work to do. And then I pick this up. See?
Right, lovely.
And then I put it inside here. And then in order to make sure it's very nice and tidy, I'll go over it with this again. Because that makes my job much easier later.
Get any excess bits out.
And
can tell you've done this before, Sima.
100 times. And then you go inside in here because it's circle and it hasn't got sharp edges. I just go like that. Can you see it comes out?
Yeah, so you keep going round until
and then I do it again so it becomes really clean. And then I do the same thing here. Sometimes if the consistency is not right, what will happen is it starts moving. It has happened, so it's not like it always happens perfectly.
Yes, but you want to get it just the right.
That's right. Enough
shape.
Oil, too much oil makes it move. Little oil sticks, and then you cannot get
It's fascinating to see
cut.
how it's done.
Yeah,
So different to piercing with a jeweler's saw.
That's right, much easier. I mean, imagine sitting here with a lot of muscle and doing it.
Well, especially for people who have a condition.
Exactly like me.
Yeah.
So
It's incredible.
So we have done that. Now outside hasn't got that much support, so I have to be very careful. So what I do is I do the same thing, I actually cut it that way.
So you go in with the little V's first.
Yes, and from the corners. Now I have done that, but I won't go over it because it's very delicate. I'm going to be using another tool. It's called tissue blade. It's this one. Tissue blade is actually a blade. I put a masking tape on this side so I know which side is actually hard.
Yeah.
And which side is sharp.
So you don't push on the wrong end.
Exactly.
That
and
would
I just
not
tiny
be good.
bit. Yeah, it's not good at all. So I just tiny bit oil it. Be careful you don't cut your hands. And what I do, I actually go and cut because these are quite straight lines.
Yeah, so you follow that geometric.
Yeah, and then I'll push it out. Can you see it comes out? And then I go to the other side and
So is it actually kind of like a hexagon, this shape?
it is. It's based on circle. I call this is a mosaic collection. It is based on a circle. Depends how many you divide the circle, then you get these little holes, and so it is quite interesting because in Islamic art, the architecture especially, they believe circle is complete.
Okay.
And then you divided the circle into different divisions, and that is when you get these patterns. It's quite an interesting story.
Yeah. So are there lots of circles in that kind of architecture?
Yes, there are like 300, because they were very good in algebra, I think. So
Right.
that's what that comes from.
It's really coming to life.
I know. See this little bit which we had already cut is sticking there. We just take it out, and I put it on my hand on like this, so because I don't want it to dry, any bits comes out, and sorry, and then I put it all in here. Now it is actually done.
Beautiful.
But I need to remove the acetate. So what I do, I try to find the right edge. I put my, and then it's come off. And this is done.
Wow, stunning. So that will now be dried.
That's right. I dry this, and then.
And then would you fire it with a torch or in a kiln?
No, kiln. I don't use torch because torch is only for soldering.
Right.
The reason I don't do that because I don't want customers to come back saying this piece is broken, because it stays. My pieces stay in the kiln for almost 2 hours, and they become very hard.
Yes.
And that way is to get the guarantee that nothing will happen to it.
Brilliant. So, and once you fired it, it shrinks about 10% or so?
I would put it on, although the new versions meant to be only 10%, but it's not when you're doing kiln.
Right.
Because with kiln, as longer you keep it, more it gets together.
But it will end up this sort of size.
That's right. So I usually go for about 14%.
Wonderful. Yeah. And then this can be used on earrings, necklaces,
everything.
bracelets.
I have collection which that is used on. I have got a series of collections, earrings, long chains, and they call it flowers because from this to that, because when I like it because I don't want sharp edges too much, so I wanted things to look like a handmade.
Yeah.
So when this is perfect because when I sand it, you lose all that edges.
Yes.
And then it makes it something like that.
Beautiful.
And it is quite popular. People like that.
I can see why. Yeah. Well, Sima, thank you so much for showing us your process and how you make things.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, we've done loads in here today.
Yeah.
So should we go for a little stroll?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Let's do
Yes.
it. So, what has been the biggest challenge in your jewellery making journey so far?
Biggest challenge is usually the techniques. When I design a new collection, I have to think of how I'm going to put it together, and am I going to repeat it, be able to repeat the same size, same thing, and also another challenge is to be able to find the gems of the same quality, same size.
Yeah.
That is another challenge because it's out of my hand, and usually I have to source it, and if I can't, then I have to buy them in a very high quantity because then they will cut it for me to the size I want. But until then, you just have to hope you're going to find it.
Yeah. Source those gemstones.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sometimes I go to places and I like the gems and I buy, but then it would be a one item. But if, for example, British Museum wants more, then I can't just give those to them because I should be able to supply them again, and with the same cut, same shape, same
For that
look.
consistency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that they do sell well in order to go and buy big quantity.
You've achieved so much.
Oh,
I'm sure way
thank
more than you ever thought was possible.
Yes,
and
I
you keep achieving more and more. Every time I see you, there's new things. So what has been your proudest moment of your jewellery career?
I have to say it is a British Museum. I can't just, I've been on TV, a lot of places. I've been on a lot of openings. I've been thanked by the presidents, and Prince Charles was on one of the openings. And,
King Charles.
King Charles, sorry, I shouldn't do that, but it's a habit. But it's still, I think it's the British Museum.
Yeah.
And also the relationship I have with them.
Yeah.
Because it is not just the client relationship, it's more than that. I do help them a lot they trust me, and that trust came going through years of working with them.
Yeah.
And I trust them as well. And I think it's a good relationship for more than 12 years.
Yeah.
And I have given talks in auditorium downstairs. I have been teaching as well to young and teenagers. And I still ask, they usually talk to me about the new exhibitions, and also I have to do a lot of research. They hand me all the private materials, and that is nice.
Yeah. It kind of gives you that warm, fuzzy
That's
feeling.
right.
Yeah.
Especially British Museum for me and my parents, it was a very special place, and I couldn't have been in a better place, I think.
I love
I'm
that.
happy with what is
Yeah.
happening.
I love that.
Even if it finishes, still I'm happy.
You've done such a great job.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to someone who's perhaps early in their jewellery journey and just, thinking, how are they going to make it all happen? Should they start a business and should they learn about making? What would your guidance be?
I would say that, if you're young, do whatever you want, do it early, and and don't give up. Never give up, because if you like something you will achieve. You will get somewhere because you put your 110% and you enjoy it. It becomes your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I think when you're dealing with a big organization, and these people are very busy and they are very organized, and you need to behave the same manner. So you cannot say, sorry, this week I couldn't get the jewelry, or I couldn't get the gems. They have to trust you. It's a relationship you build.
Yeah.
And you need to do that. But I still think that if you like something, you will achieve. You don't give up.
Yeah.
Every failure is one step towards achievement. So I have failed a lot in jewelry. I just don't talk about it.
We move
I
on.
have, yes.
Yeah.
You just move on, because I learned that this way I cannot do it.
Yes.
And I think if you're young, please don't give up. Just carry on. It's
And you said if you're young, but when did you start?
Oh God, it was my second career. I was disabled.
So you don't have to be young. You can do it at any age.
I think I was about 58. So 50. Sorry, 50. I'm 62 now, and I still enjoy it. I can't see myself giving up unless my body gives up. But never is too late. Never.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also, it's nice to have a hobby, because you don't know where the hobby will take you.
Yeah.
And so always always carry on, keep the same goal, and if you fail, still get up and do it different ways, and make sure that what you do you really enjoy, because otherwise it becomes boring. The key is just not giving up.
Yeah. I love that, Sima. Well, Sima, it's been such a joy to spend the day with you.
Oh, thank you very much for you spending the day with me. It was lovely. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, shall we head back?
Sure, of course.
Let's do it.